Hi, my name is Natasha and welcome to Natasha's Notes. Today it's really hot here in the UK, so I apologise for how I look. I have trapped a nerve in my back, so it's actually really uncomfortable as I'm sat here, so I'm going to keep this intro as quick as possible. But I have decided, while I am off sick today, to do something that I've been meaning to do for a little while, and that is to get rid of some of the books or do a bit of an unhaul. I've got a lot of blue books, they don't all fit on my shelves, and so I've chosen 5 books that I'm thinking about unhauling. I'm going to read the first chapter of each of them, let you know what I think as I go along, and then decide if I think they're worth me continuing to read, if I have interest to continue to read them, or if I'm going to pass them on to a charity shop. So I'll just quickly show you the ones that I've chosen. So this is Artemis Fowl. I'm sure that you'll have heard of this. It's now a Netflix series, and this is the first book in the series. I don't know how I'm going to feel about this actually. I thought about just getting rid of it straight away, but I've decided to give it a go. I'm going to read the chapter, see how I feel, see if I connect with it. It's quite a short book. I think there's only, how many pages? Like 270 pages, something like that. So I'm going to give this a go because I've heard good things about it. I'm just not sure that I'm in the place to enjoy that. The next one, I picked this up at a charity shop. One of the charity shops I go to, the books are 50p each or 3 for £1, and I think this might have been one of the 3 to make it £1 or something like that. But this is called The Woman at Number 24 by Juliet Ashton, and I literally know nothing about it. I think there's people who are on multiple levels of a property. It's like a Georgian villa in London, so there's multiple people, and this woman Sarah lives in the eaves. She's recovering from a nasty divorce, and her ex-husband lives 1 floor beneath her with his new wife. So I'm not really sure how, I don't know, even just reading that doesn't seem to, it feels really sad, so I'm not sure how this is going to go, but I'm going to give it a try, see how the vibe of it is, if it's a really sort of sad, more negative sort of feel to it, or if it's quite a funny, upbeat more way of looking at life, because that's kind of what I'm in the mood for more so right now. The next book is by, I've heard a lot about this, it's by Sophie Ronaldo and it's called Sorry Not Sorry. I've seen lots of people posting about this, but I don't really know much else about it. This says here, Charlotte has always been a good girl, but being good is getting boring. She's not just stuck in a rut, she's buried in it up to her chin. So when she stumbles across a popular podcast, Sorry Not Sorry, which challenges women to embrace their inner bad girl, she jumps at the chance to shake things up. So this one could be quite upbeat and quite fun. So the sun's shining, I'm in a bit of pain, and I kind of want something a bit light-hearted to take me away. So I think this one could be one of the ones that I enjoy more than the others right now, just because the mood that I'm in. And I feel like at some point, if I was lay by a pool or on a beach, this is a sort of read that would be an easy, quick read. It's got a nice weight to the book. There's like 330 odd pages. Yeah, so I'll give that one a go. Of course, it's in this video. The next book is a John Green book, and it's Paper Towns. I have loads of John Green books on my shelves, and I've just decided that it's time to either read or get rid. I didn't adore The Fault in Our Stars as much as other people did. I understand why lots of people really liked it, but it just isn't really for me, and I'm not sure if his writing's a little bit young, which is strange given that I read middle grade books and I can put myself in the mindset and appreciate those books for what they are and for the target audience. So I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about these. I really liked Turtles All the Way Down, I enjoyed, so I've decided to give Paper Towns a go, and we'll see. I had 2 copies of this for some reason, so I must have really wanted to read it because I ended up with 2 copies. This is just over 300 pages. I've seen, was this made into a film or a TV series? I think it's a film. I haven't watched it, I've avoided it, but I've heard lots about it, so I understand it's about, I think there's a woman called Margot and a guy who's really in love with her and stuff, I think. But we will read the first chapter and see how I feel about this. And the final book is probably one of the books I've had the longest. This was a Richard and Judy book club book for 2016, so I've at least had this for 4 years. This is Sarah Winman's A Year of Marvellous Ways, and the reason I've kept this book for so many years is because I like the fact that it's a little bit different. It follows an older character. I can't remember her name. I think her name might be Marvellous Ways, and she's an 89-year-old lady, and I quite liked, for example, in The Switch, I liked having the perspective of an older character in Eileen, and I like mixing it up a little bit with that and having a different sort of age perspective. And I don't know, something about this appeals, but I think it actually goes, maybe it goes back in time. It says, this is a story about Marvellous Ways, an 89-year-old woman who sits by a creek in Cornwall waiting for a last adventure, and it's about Francis Drake, a young soldier who washes up there, reeling from war and broken-hearted. It's about the magic in everyday life and the lure of the sea, the healing powers of storytelling and slow gin, and how we carry on when grief comes snapping at our heels. So I think this one could like hit me in the feels, but I've had it a little while, so I need to have a read, see how this author writes. I haven't read When God is a Rabbit, and I know a lot of people have spoken about that book by this author, so I just need to see if this is a sort of book that tickles my fancy and is written in a way that I enjoy. So I'm gonna get on with reading some of these chapters, and I will pop back with how I'm feeling after each of the chapters, and we'll see which of the books I am getting rid of and which I'm keeping. So I read the prologue and chapter 1 of Artemis Fowl, which was 17 pages, and I think I could really like this. I think this is a book that I could actually get into. I like the way it's written, and I think it would be an easy, fun read. So this one, maybe, we'll see how the others go, but yeah, I think I could breeze through this quite quickly, and I quite like where it's going already. So let's move on to the next book, but I think I'm going to move to another room because the sun's coming into this room. Okay, next up, excuse the sound of the fan, I'm very sorry, but next up we're going to try The Woman at Number 24. I'm going to read a chapter of that. I can't turn the fan off because I have very furry dogs, and so I think they need the breeze, and also they're idiots and they like to go and lie outside and sunbathe. So my back's hurting from the way I sat upstairs, so I'm going to lie on my sofa for a bit, have a bit of a break and get on with this book, and I'll see you soon. Wow, what a flattering angle. I just finished the prologue and the first chapter of The Woman at Number 24, and I've understood that Sarah lives in the top floor, then her ex-husband and Helena lives in the next floor down, which is flat B, then a new couple, Tom and I've forgotten her name, live in flat C. An old bitter lady lives in flat D in the basement, and next to her is a single mum and her daughter. I don't know, I started to read on into chapter 2 to try and get a bit more of a feel for the book. It's something that I could read, but I feel like it would be a 3-star read that would be quite forgetful, if that makes sense. I would read it and it'd blur with other books in my brain, and I don't think it would be anything outstanding, so I'm not too sure about this one. So I've moved outside on my patio. I'm gonna have a go and sitting down. I've got footrest things, so I'm gonna see if I can get comfortable out here, and I'm now gonna read the first chapter of Sorry Not Sorry and see what I think. My back is really not comfortable out here, so I'm going to move inside for the next book, but I've just finished Sorry Not Sorry, the first chapter, and I don't know, I'm just not really feeling it. Maybe I'm not in the mood for this sort of book right now, but I just don't really care. But look at this. So Alfie is here inside with me. We've got the curtains closed, the windows and doors open. But look at this bloody idiot. This is Holly. She thinks she's a sunflower. There she is. She's nearly 14 and no one can tell her otherwise. She wants to be in the sun, panting her bloody head off. She'll come in a bit. She's a daft dog. Little darling. And here's my sensible darling. Thank you, the sensible one. Oh, here she is. Hello. Hi, I'm just outside the vet's waiting for an appointment to collect some medication for my dog Alfie. So I brought John Green's Paper Towns to read the first chapter while I'm waiting before I have to pop my mask on and go in and collect the tablets. It's by appointment only and I'm a little bit early. Okay, so I've got Alfie's medication and I have read the first 24 pages of John Green's Paper Towns. I like his writing style, that's nothing new to me. I have read other books of his. Right, so let me take these off. Right, so now I'm home, and as I said to you when I was outside the vet's, I have read John Green's Paper Towns first chapter, and I'm not exactly sure how I feel about it, but I will give you an overall impression once I've read all 5 books' first chapters. So the final book that I am now going to read is A Year of Marvellous Ways. Who's this by? Sarah Winman. I've got an ice block, cool block, whatever it's called, on my back. I'm alternating hot and cold, which is something that the chiropractor has suggested because I saw her just a couple of days ago. And now I'm going to sit and I'm going to have that on my back and I'm going to read the first chapter of this, and then I'll be back to give you a summary of this and what I thought about the other 4 books, and decide which I'm going to keep, if any. There's a thunderstorm outside, so apologies if you can hear any thunder, and apologies if you can hear the panting of a very stressed dog. Alfie here is very scared of thunder, so he's now sat on my foot. I've just finished the first chapter of A Year of Marvellous Ways, and I had to lie down for it because unfortunately my back was hurting a little too much, so I'm sat up for this wrap-up section and I'll try and get through this as quickly as possible. Please excuse how sweaty and gross I look, but this is the reality of life in the UK when we're not used to hot and humid weather, and also trying to deal with sweating from pain too. So anyway, but first, the other thing that I've done is I've had a look on Goodreads to see what the average rating was for these books. Sometimes when I'm trying to decide between 2 books, I allow Goodreads to decide for me, and this is also something I have when I'm watching films, and I let IMDb decide for me. If I equally like both of them, then I just let Goodreads decide. I let IMDb or Goodreads decide. But the first book I read was Artemis Fowl by, I think that said like Owen Colfer, if that's an Irish name. I know that Artemis is Irish, so I'm imagining that the author is therefore Irish, so that would be said like Owen. This got an average of 3.85 on Goodreads, and that's from 485,000 reviews, which is quite a lot of reviews. When I first started this, this was the one that I pretty much wasn't going to read, and I was just going to straight away put it into the pile to go to the charity shop. And actually I'm quite intrigued by this. I thought I liked the way it's written. I didn't realise that it was going to be, I don't know what I expected. I knew he was it says on the back he's a criminal genius, but I didn't know that it was going to be quite intricate and quite, I don't know, I think I'm going to really enjoy this. So actually Artemis Fowl gets to stay on my shelf, and if I haven't read it in a period of time, let's say 6 months or so, or by the end of the year, then maybe in a new year refresh when I look at my shelves, then I think it might be time for it to go then. The next book that I picked up from my shelves and I have now read a chapter of is The Woman at Number 24 by Julia Ashton, and this is all about the number of people. It's about the number of people that live at number 24, and as you can see, here's a diagram of the property, and we are following Sarah, who lives in the top flat, Leo and Helena, which is her ex-husband, and his new wife. He had an affair with this lady and then divorced Sarah to marry this lady, and then Jane and Tom are a new couple that have just moved into the house in this first chapter. Mavis is an older lady who's a little bit bitter and angry and isn't very friendly. And then Lisa and Una, or Una, depending on how you say this. Una is one of my middle names actually, so we say Una because I was named after my great grandmother, and it was said as Una there, but other people say Una. And that is a single mother and her daughter, which we haven't yet met in chapter 1. And there's a lot of people, and I can see there's a lot of things going on. This book got an average of 4, I believe, on Goodreads, 4.02, and that is from 2,132 ratings. So I think this might actually be the highest Goodreads rating of all the books. And I don't know what it is, but I was reading it and I just thought, I may have said this after my chapter wrap up, I think this is going to be one of those books that I read, I enjoy an average amount, probably give it a 3 stars, and then I forget swiftly that I've ever read it, and it's just one of those that just won't stay with me. And for some reason, well, not for some reason, I feel that that's possibly a bit of a waste of my time. I didn't really connect with the characters. I kind of liked, it was an easy way that it was written, and I quite liked that there'll be a lot of characters, but it just didn't grip me. And I have so many books to read that this one is going to be going back to the charity shop. The next book I gave a chapter of my life to, or I took the time to read, was Sorry Not Sorry by Sophie Renaud. And this got a 3.76 on Goodreads, which I think is pretty good, and that's from 6,047 ratings. It's weird. I like the weight of this book. Sounds stupid, but it's kind of more weighty than these. These feel like they're sort of a cheaper paper. This feels like it's better quality paper. It's a bit more, I don't know, weighted. In this book, we follow Charlotte, and Charlotte lived with her best friend, who doesn't say the name of on the back, but Charlotte and her best friend live together, and then a third housemate moves in, and the best friend and the guy get together, and this book starts as those two move out to a house in South London together, and Charlotte's living on her own, and she's going to get new housemates, and I think she's just feeling a bit fed up of her boring life, and it doesn't happen in chapter 1, but on the back it says that she's sick of being a good girl and she's going to try being a bad girl. Apologies for Alfie wandering around in the background. Probably should have tidied up the background, but never mind. That's the reality of my life. I think Holly's sleeping in the hall there. Oh, there was lightning. Holly's sleeping in the hall there because it's cool. She's deaf and pretty blind, so she's oblivious to everything that's going on while Alfie is stressfully panting. When we have storms in the winter, I wrap him up in something tight, usually my dressing gown or something like that that smells of me, and I hold him tightly onto me and almost swaddle him, and he just lies there and puts up with it. But he's too hot right now for that, so I don't really know how to settle him. This book, I think I would probably enjoy this book if I gave it a chance and went with it. I like it when someone tries to improve their life and go on a journey of self-development. Or self-improvement. I don't like it when it gets tied up in a loose bow, a nice neat bow, because a guy comes along and makes everything all right for the woman. That's something that I don't really enjoy. I don't know if that's how this is going to go. That's not something I'm saying, but I do like it when the characters go on a journey, which I think Charlotte would do. However, I'm just not really feeling this. So this is another one that I'm going to say sorry not sorry. Thank you for being on my bookshelves. You've probably been on it for a year, but maybe 6 months or more, but I'm going to be letting this go as well. Sometimes I want something light-hearted like this. It's almost like a palate cleanser from a book that's maybe been a bit intense or just a bit of a tougher read. And right now I'd say I'm more in the mood for something a little more different and a little more adventure, sci-fi, mystery. And I've read a lot of romance this year and I'm not really in the mood for that either. So I'm in a bit of a weird mood. So I think these books, had I done this at another time of the year, these books maybe would have stayed, but at this moment in time, because I'm such a mood reader, they're gonna go. But I'm gonna move on to the next one because I did say this is gonna be a quick wrap up and it's clearly not. So the next book has the most ratings of all these books from Goodreads, and this has 809, well basically nearly 898. my dog, sorry, 898,000 ratings on Goodreads. It has an average of 3.8, and this is John Green's Paper Towns. I read the prologue and the first chapter, and it's okay. I kind of like Quentin. I think he's alright, and I could grow to like him as a character. I'm not sure how I feel about Margot. Is she just like cool for trying to be cool? I don't know. I feel that this, while I really enjoy YA books, there's just something about them that I do really enjoy, but something about this feels like it's going to be a bit young and that I'm not going to appreciate it. I don't know. I'm in two minds. I feel like I maybe need to give this one more chapter and go to chapter 2 and then make a decision. At the moment, I'm in the middle, and I have to admit, I'm not 100% even as I sit here right now filming this. I look at it and it isn't sparking joy within me, so it kind of makes me want to get rid of it, but at the same time I feel like so many people have read John Green books that I need to give it a go and see how I feel. How many 300 pages of my life? I don't know. I'm torn. I am actually really torn with this, so I'd really appreciate it actually if you let me know if you've read this and if you enjoyed it, if you recommend that I keep it or get rid of it. Any help with shall I keep this book or not would be much appreciated. And the final book with a blue cover that I was thinking of getting rid of or donating was A Year of Marvellous Ways by Sarah Winman, and I've read the first chapter of this, and it gets an average of 3.81 on Goodreads, and that's from 7,000 reviews. I know a lot of people who would really like this book, and I think one of my aunts definitely. I think this is something that she could get her teeth into. Marvellous is 89 at the time of writing, of the time in this book, and we've already had a quick whistle-stop tour of her 90 years, well roughly. So at the point at which she's in her 90th year, it is 1947, I believe. And I think if I gave this the time and effort, I would maybe enjoy it. But I think what I'm going to do is actually pass this on to a family member who I think will appreciate it more than me. It's been on my shelves for a number of years. Like I said, I think it's been on my shelves for at least 4 years. So while I think this could be a good book and that maybe I would enjoy it, and I also it wouldn't be a book that would be forgettable like some of these other more chick lit kind of books. I feel like I would remember it and it would be just a bit different. However, I'm not really feeling the love for it, so I think I'll pass it on to someone who will. Mother Nature is obviously annoyed that I'm getting rid of some books. I'm going to be either giving to charity or family member these 3 books, and possibly even John Green's Paper Towns. I'm still undecided. So the only one that I'm definitely decided that I am going to give a chance of reading or carrying on with is Artemis Fowl's is Owen Colfer's Artemis Fowl, and I'm going to read this book actually because I think I'm going to enjoy it. I maybe wouldn't read the whole series, but I've got this book, so I'm going to give it a go. So this is the one that lives to survive another day, and that's 3, maybe 4 books off my shelf from the blue section, and I will be back another time to try a chapter from a different coloured section in the future, because I have hundreds of books on my TBR shelves. Physically, I have, I don't know, I would say I probably have about 150, 60 books to be read physically on my shelves, and then I have, I don't know how many hundreds, 300 or more on my Kindle and Kobo, so I need to have a call. Anyway, thank you for watching, take care, and I hope to see you next time.